Today on Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, we're talking about withholding love. Who isn't worthy or deserving of your love? Do you pick and choose when you give your love, or do you offer it freely? How do you love yourself conditionally? Learn how to be aware of when you withhold love as we continue our month focused on paying attention. Does your clutter own you? On Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, we'll teach you how to become aware of your clutter along with action steps to declutter and create the life you desire. Come on, let's get started. Reminder that this month was based on the 10-minute decluttering suggestions I had from a couple years ago. Kind of June, we're getting ready for vacation for many people. Some of you may be on vacation. And so this is something that I believe you can easily do 10 minutes a day, maybe even more. It's better, but really paying attention and observing can sometimes be really difficult and draining and really a challenge. And I picked things that I thought people might be really challenged at doing, but also I believe reap big awards. So if you're able to, remember to spend a few minutes a day throughout the day observing. And we're going to set the intention that you're going to be shown this and you're going to observe and you're going to have those aha moments. And then if you can take action, fantabulous. But in all honesty, this whole month is about flexing our awareness and pay attention muscles. So if you don't do any take actions on this, but have your moments of clarity and awareness, that's what's important. We're all part of the same energy. We're all part of the oneness. And so if someone's doing something over here, it's going to affect someone over here. So all of our actions on some level affect everyone else. With the state of the world right now, it's even more important to remember this. I have tried to stay off social media personally, and my challenge is you can't have a business page on Facebook without having a personal page. And I think I really need to do a 30-day detox because I just shake my head. I can't get over some of the things I read. And so that's going to slide in right into where I want you to think about, where do you withhold your love? Maybe it's for people you don't think deserve your love. Maybe you think, oh, they're an addict, or they're not a kind person. They don't deserve my love. I'm going to do an episode later in the year, but someone really angered me a couple months ago on YouTube with their comment, and I'm going to share it when I do the episode, and I almost banned them. And I don't like to do that, but I thought in the entire time I've had a YouTube channel, I would say, even when someone did a really crappy comment about how they hated my voice, I didn't feel the need to ban them. But within the past couple months or two people I wanted to ban. And I thought seriously about banning this person. And my husband read the comment and he was like, wow. And then I stepped back and I said, they need your love more than anyone. They need to be watching your channel to hopefully have some aha moments. So when someone you think, especially you think opposite of your political thoughts, really you dislike them strongly. My mother never allowed me to say hate. I try not to do that. They are probably the last person that you feel you're diametrically opposed to. And you have such that venom. And I would argue in that moment, you need to open up your heart and share your love really even more. Perhaps you won't give to those who disagree with you on any front. It doesn't have to just be political. Maybe you have differing views on how to run a school or how the school system should be set up, or you can't be in the same room with someone that's the opposite of your football team. Politics keep popping into my mind as I'm reading this, so I'm a little bit struggling. That's where I see it the most. Because if you view someone as having different views than you, then how can they think like that? Only an awful person would think like that. So you're probably not sending them any love, right? And you're probably sending them some not so kind thoughts. So that is a great place to start. And remember, those who aggravate us can be our biggest teachers. And sometimes those are the moments where we have our biggest breakthroughs. It's probably not going to take me 5 years. It's not my immediate project. It is my second book that I'm going to do. Well, I should say my third kind of written book, the journal prompts. They're written and I had to do a lot and think of the prompts, but it's less intensive writing. And it's going to be a personal story. It's not going to have anything to do with clutter, although technically you could say spiritual clutter. And it's going to be about my journey where I was I don't want to call it a cult because that's too strong of a word, but I worked with a mentor and I kind of gave away my power to her. And when I finally started to back off and I was looking to say, wow, some of these women have been here for 20 years and they are mean. And that was one of the things that prompted. I had gone to see her, which I'll share someday for a very specific reason, and it didn't happen. And was very vulnerable. And the people there, just one woman in particular who was obviously jealous of me, just was cruel about it. And I have a lot of faults, but I don't consider myself a cruel person. I thought, this is supposed to be a spiritual group. Talk about hypocritical and withholding love. And it was doing the opposite of what the whole thing was set up to be. So anyway, my goal is to publish that in 5 years because I know I'm not alone in what that's happened to. And I bet that there are people going through that right now. And it's about remembering you have all the wisdom you need. Don't give that away to someone else. Are you always comparing yourself? How are you not honoring yourself? Do you spend time gossiping? Would you like to share your gifts with the world? Get control of your clutter so your clutter doesn't control you. Reclaim time, money, sanity, and resources. Spiritual Got Clutter 365 Journal Prompts supports you in clearing your spiritual clutter. Free gift with purchase to support you even more in your journey to declutter your life. In what situations do you withhold your love from people you love? When you get into an argument or you don't get your way? When they won't do what you want them to do? Or when you can't control them? One thing I was very clear about when I got married was that I would never, ever withhold my love for my husband. Doesn't mean we don't disagree or he drives me nutso sometimes. I asked him before I went, I love him. And I said, can I take this package to UPS? We had brought something, it's actually my Valentine's Day gift, and it didn't work. And so he said, oh yeah, it has to be the post office. So I went to the post office. UPS is closer. And I got there and she's like, no, you have to take this to UPS. Did it drive me nuts? Yes, but it didn't mean that I'm going to stop loving him. All those years of being single and observing couples taught me that this is something I never wanted to do. I never want him to feel like I don't love him or I'm withholding my love. When you withhold your love for others, you withhold love for yourself. It is all related. When people are talking about the fifth dimension, which can kind of be this nebulous concept sometime, I think, or raising your vibration, this is what they're talking about. Like, you can disagree with someone and still have love for someone. I think about the Dalai Lama, who's so centered and so calm. I mean, if you look around, as part of your observation, maybe think of someone who you can have a discussion with, and you can see when people are getting upset, but you can also see someone who's calm and they're politely disagreeing and that love is still there for the other person, whereas you can see and feel. Remember, because everything's energy, and even if you can't articulate it, at a deeper level, you're feeling about it. So when you withhold your love for others, you withhold your love from yourself. And if you loved yourself unconditionally, you'd love everyone and everything unconditionally. I'm going to do an episode later on about, is it good or is it bad? because that's a really interesting, because I used to see things as very black and white, good and bad, and I've taken a different tack over the years on that. It's the same concept of when you judge another, you judge yourself. So think about that. That's kind of hand in hand. If you are judging yourself, you're not loving yourself. So maybe add that to the observation list this week. How aren't you loving yourself? Are you doing something physically like eating too much, maybe drinking too much, hanging around people that don't treat you well, holding back from pursuing your dream? This isn't easy. Love should be easy, but let's face it, we're humans. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. It's not easy to love someone they drive you nuts. Am I able to do this all the time? Not even close. But here's the good news. This is where the real spiritual work is. It's not about doing yoga or your daily mantra or your prayer. Although don't get me wrong, because that's part of it. But this is where the real work comes in. Loving those you don't want to love. You don't choose to love. You think, oh my gosh, the last person on earth I want to love. That's where the hard work is, but also where you can reap the greatest benefits. Where are you withholding love from others and yourself? Do you love yourself conditionally? Do you love yourself when you fall off your diet or you lose your temper or you're unkind? Or do you go into judgment? Do you go into being mean to yourself? People who are mean to you are also mean to themselves. You are just, whoever it is they're being mean to is just one person to lash out at, because if they are already so self-critical, and I liken it to a tea kettle that's getting ready to boil and explode, and they have done so much self-hatred that it's got to find, or meanness or whatever, and it's got to find another target or they're going to explode. They have to find an outlet to do that. Contemplate this week where you withhold your love, and then, if you're able, take some steps to bring more love for yourself and others. Take actions from today's podcast. Set the intention to notice when you withhold your love. Observe where and with whom you withhold your affection. Contemplate why you don't love unconditionally. Understand when and where you don't love yourself. Practice loving those you don't love. Give yourself the love you deserve. On our next episode, we're talking about making excuses. Go out, clear your clutter to create the life you choose, deserve, and desire. Clearing your clutter allows you to share your gifts with the world. Get your free self-assessment to discover your clutter priority at reawakenyourbrilliance.com. If you've enjoyed Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, please rate, review, and share us.